form. That's it now? That's it, right? Good, now we go to the toilet.
So, that small table, I brought it on the first day.
Yeah.
Because last year I was supporting him preparing his seat. Last year he was using the book. So I thought he's using the book this year again, but now he's not using it. So we don't need that table. But if you find another reason, then that's also fine.
You never know, it might come along with a book.
Yeah, good point.
So you don't know.
Yes.
So then he leaves hesitating just in case.
Good. Now
And I think sometimes he puts a flash on it on his audio recorder. He has a special recorder for himself, right? He sometimes put it on there.
Yeah, there you go, now you know the reason.
Yeah.
Good. And did you, is Patak prepared a glass of water?
I have done it downstairs.
Okay.
So we can do Patak do it today. Because it's his duty. See, sharpen the
Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Good.
Have a good sit.
You too.
Thanks. I hope het is lijken goed zit.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So I'm going to read a short sutta from the Samyutta Link Discourses, the section on the Satipatthana, and take this to be the core source of what got woven into the Majjhima version, and then the Digha Nikaya version, which had been amplified, obviously padded out and edited to make something more composed, but this seems to be the basic raw material. And the sutta really means a thread, so we can understand that these are picked up either verses or phrases or sentences or sometimes big chunks, as the Buddha said, and then kind of woven together to form these composites. So this early collection is still pretty much bits and pieces before they did the full editing job. It's quite interesting to just compare them, and you can see why some of this is rather difficult in its original form. It's quite bare, no story. This one is the 42nd sutta, thread, called origination, at least samudaya is the term. And you recognize origination in this sense doesn't mean history, it means something rising up, as we see in the dependent origination, dependent arising, things are just welling up. So we say origin doesn't mean like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it's now something is welling up. Because that's what we know directly. And the other term that's used in this is the term, or what's translated here as passing away. There are various words that are used for this particular aspect. And this one is atangamo. Atangamo is a word that's associated with sunset. It means the energy goes out. It doesn't destroy it, it just fades out. Like it goes out of the manifest. Energy moves out. At least that's the way I take it. Bhikkhus, I will teach you the origination and the passing away of the 4 establishments of mindfulness. Listen to that. And what bhikkhus is the origination of the body? With the origination of nutriment is the origination of the body. With the cessation of nutriment, there is the passing away of the body. So he's going through the 4 places where one establishes sati. The first one being body. And you recognize, well, what's he referring to here? Nutriment, food, water, air. With that, when that's cut off, the passing away of the body. It doesn't mean the body disappears, the body's still there, it's just a dead body. And then it changes into other forms of matter. So we say the energy form, energy leaves that body. Tangamo. And it's still a body, but it's not what we call a living body, and then we don't really see it as a person anymore. Don't really see it as a person. And so we recognise, if you've been through that, most of us haven't been through that directly, seeing a person in a living body and the life force leaving, this kind of threshold before you really get it. that I'm looking at is no longer Carol or Venerable so-and-so. And yet, it isn't. There's a sort of somatic echo you get, something in you shifts. Oh my goodness, oh. And of course this can be very emotionally upsetting for people. The recognition that the energy shifts and something in one's own body kind of gets a little bit of a lurch, or oh yes, this too. That I take to be me living in a body is really just a coming together of energy and physicality. The energy is fading. Every day. I'm talking to Tita Dhammo the other day, and he was saying when he first came here, he'd walk from Littlehampton on the coast, to Chithurst for his Uposatha day. So it's about 9-10 hour walk. And he said it was his pilgrimage. Walk 9 or 10 hours across country, up over the hills and down the other side, sit up all night until 3:30, then turn around and walk back again. Walk up the hill. He said he generally, by the time he got to the top of the downs, he'd flake out for an hour or so, then continue walking back to Littlehampton. And I don't think I would conceive of doing that now. He certainly couldn't do it. Now he's in a wheelchair. Where did Tita Dhammo go? Where did he go? No, it's just conditions and the gradual, sunset is in sunsets now. With origination of contact, the origination of feeling. With cessation of contact, the passing away of feeling. Contact passa, something impacts. There's a stirring. We get it. And then feeling comes up, wells up out of that stirring. Some kind of contact, when you get it, for just a second, you haven't quite got this pleasant or unpleasant, it's just a sudden shock. Oh, and then, I don't like that. That whirls up out of that contact. We notice then there's two kinds of contact. One is the very impact, so you walk into a shower, turn the water on and bang, it wets you, and then, wow, this is cold. The first thing is just the impact. And then split second later, recognition, cold and unpleasant feeling, shivering, don't like it. And if you stay with it, the unpleasant feeling sort of wanes or subsides because something's got used to it. What happened? You have two kinds of contact. One is the sensory contact, and one is designation contact. How the heart responds to that. And certainly, many of us, I'm sure, you go tudong, we do something, and first of all, God, this is really tough. It's really tough. And after a day or so, you've just gotten used to it. It's no longer, the contact's still there, but somehow the quality of feeling, the heart's disposition towards that has changed. Certainly, when you come into monastic life, it's quite a big shift of, because you don't have the ability to necessarily get away from unpleasant feeling. Sometimes it's very boring Well, normally, well, I've had enough of this, I'm out of here. No. No, that isn't quite, that's on the script. You know? And the feeling, welling up. The cessation of contact, that is, the heart is either completely, moves out, just okay, there is, I'm just backing off, and then the feeling, one still has the ability to feel, but that particular quality of feeling, the energy goes out of it. It's no longer reverberating. You could say, oh yeah, it's unpleasant, oh yeah. But in a way, the energy of it is the flaring up. It's faded. Just no longer becomes a place that you find yourself, anchored to or stuck on or being impacted by something. Just, I guess it's unpleasant. Well, doesn't really have much impact. So the feeling loses its energy. This could sound kind of rather negative, except, of course, the heart doesn't disappear. It's still there, but it's kind of not taking a position on feeling, on contact. It's stepped back. And this is possible. Because feeling is the movement of the heart, energy moving in the heart. The heart can also, citta, can also has a quality of just being what it is. And the feeling moves through it. It's when it engages with the feeling, then movement intensifies. It disengages with the feeling, movement subsides. Energy is withdrawn from that. This is possible. It's sort of recognizing the possibility of that and the advantage of that. One does bear with changeable feeling, the unpleasant. And there's something to be profitable about this. Just to be able to disengage, and yet not be numbed out. Until one has practiced, this seems slightly remote or even deadly or numbing. But no, it's there is that possibility. With the rising up of name and form, there's a rising up of citta, translated as mind. With the ceasing of name and form, there is the passing away of mind, or heart, or citta, passing away, disappearance, the moving out of that. Name and form. Name. The way things are designated. They're designated through perception. Well, it's one of those. Perception depends upon attention, giving it attention, contact, it's that. Perception, attention, contact, feeling, and inclination. One turns. Therefore, of course, one turns towards attention, contact, perception, feeling. And so this is a rising of name dependent upon some kind of form that happens. Something arises as an object. And this is bound up with consciousness, name-form consciousness. So when that is established, that is the standing place of consciousness. So, for example, you wake up in the morning. Such an everyday experience, everybody does it. What happens? You're somewhere, some kind of, mood, perception flickering through. I don't know, you describe the sleep state, and then it begins to change, perhaps quite quickly. A sense of weight gathers. You get a sense of being in a body. Oh yeah. And then mind comes, oh hang on, oh yeah. Light comes in, open the eyes, stirring. Oh, it's, oh, what? Oh, right, 4 o'clock, okay. Click, 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 click. Where were you? And now you're somewhere else, and yet you've barely moved. And you haven't changed it. Consciousness has just found another setting. So when the contact and the feelings and perceptions are associated with the sleep state, consciousness is established there. And there's those elements we call waking up, which is a sense of physical embodiment becomes apparent. Sensory objects become apparent. Movement becomes available. That's all going on. I'm here in the sense realm. Consciousness is now established there. What established it? Contact, perceptions, feelings, and then established here. And now I'm awake. I'm in my kuti. I'm in bed. I'm in the floor. What's happening? Right? This welling up and shifting and movement that we're all so familiar with. It seems like I was asleep, then I woke up, then I got up, then I took a wash, and so forth. I did all those things. That's the way it seems, isn't it? When we talk about it, actually, reality, contact impressions changed, perceptions and feelings changed, consciousness established itself, different modes, from being in the dream state to being in the waking state. And who was that? Then we get a sense of purpose comes in. Okay, better do my whatever it is in the morning, my stretches, or freshen up, or get my robes on, or go to the puja. Here we go. Intention, inclination comes in. There I am walking along, heading for the meditation hall. Contact, impressions, feelings, perceptions, intentions, attention, shifting and changing. Who's that? What happened to the person in bed? Where did she go? You say it's the same person? Conventionally speaking, yeah, but the person who's asleep is not responsible. They're not ethically attuned. They're probably not following the core what. Their monastic routines. Then we come up. Now we are. Intentions and inclinations have changed. We've adopted them, picked them up, and can make a big identity out of them. Whether one's good at it, bad at it, trying, not trying, fed up, whatever it is. Identity established on it. establishing the identity definitely throws a big weight into the picture. Because what happens is an emotional intensification around experience. Emotional intensity occurs. Get right, get good, be good, want, don't want. This emotional intensification called upadana, clinging. And we're on the path to suffering. So this is how these things arise. And when they cease, it's, okay, this is a feeling, it's contact, consciousness established here, intentions like this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, painful, pleasant, agreeable, mildly disagreeable, mm-hmm. Agreeable, very agreeable, slightly agreeable, shifting, moderating, mm-hmm. Feelings like this. Yeah. But with name and form, that starts to solidify into a person. Those factors bind it together. Because the sense of contact, attention, intention, perception, all seem to belong to me, you know? That's the way it seems. They bind together. But if we, so then the citta rises up. I am this, I want to be this, I'm not this, I can never be this, I'm doomed to be this is the way I always am, never will be any other way, I can't help it. Checkmate. Locked. I have to be this, I'm supposed to be this, I'll always be this, I'll never be this. Locked. They're like that, she's like that, that's the way it is, absolutely locked. Stuck in this forever, never got to do this, always got to be that, she's always this way, I'm always that way, locked. You know? And then things change. Oh. You know? Sometimes radically, somebody passes away. Strong people become less strong. People with clarity, the mental clarity fades. You know, senility sets in. Mental disturbance sets in. This can happen. What happened to that bright, sharp-minded person? Like we had a very devoted lay disciple, and she was a Cambridge scholar. You know, she's very sharp-minded, and then she began to gradually lose it mentally, and out of compassion took her into the monastery, and then she became increasingly senile. I guess they call it dementia. Nowadays they didn't have that word then. It was more like a pejorative word. You're a demented idiot. But now it's just actually recognise a particular, I don't know if you call it disease or malfunction, where certain faculties just start to break up. And then where's she gone? She couldn't even make a sentence, let alone an argument. She couldn't actually form a sentence. Where did she go? And now you realise this person talking, making sounds and words, and seemingly trying to hold a conversation with you, and it just was absolute gibberish. And you get a sense of cognitive shock. Fortunately, she was very happy because she loved being where she was. She was a cheerful person, so she looked quite bright and happy and animated and cheerful. But So you just think, well, whatever she is, smile back and say a few words, and it was okay. Still there's that sense of, oh my goodness, that which seemed to be absolutely a person, recognized by that, known by that, characterized by that, where did it go? It went out. It went out. It suddenly didn't stick together anymore. I'm not saying that we are heading toward or advocating, dementia as an inevitable Buddhist process for awakening. Though sometimes one's mind does veer towards a slightly dysfunctional states. But just, somebody's there. But this person's definitely she was there. Definitely Chitta was there. And you had gone out of what you could actually designate. And because the energy wasn't going into verbal formation. Didn't go there anymore. Now, if we look at it more, developmentally in terms of awakening, we begin to recognize perceptions. That's the way perceptions are arising here. I don't want to take a stand on it. It's definitely happening. And yet, how much energy is going into it? How much conviction is going into it? How much need to be convinced by one's perception goes into it? To what degree do one expect your perception, my perception, to be yours? And mine's right, yours isn't. Just maybe so. No, just wait a minute, just back off from that. And community life's great for that. It's frustrating, in some respects. It's also, and sometimes you realise, actually I got it wrong. I was pretty sure that was what it was, I got it wrong. Or, it wasn't accurate. So that softening of the doesn't mean, I'm stupid and idiot, just, no, you don't really take too much of a stand on it. And then with that, what is it that can do that can actually, still be present and hear and listening and attentive, and you're not taking a stand on perceptions and feeling and contact. Now, if we look at it, again, reviewing it, contact, naming, forming, mind welling up, heart welling up, definitely becoming a me, solidifying. Or could be pretty uncomfortable to do that, since that which is based upon is wobbling and shifting all the time. So I just become a wobble, trying to find a place to wobble in. Is there another way? I could be something steady. Or there could be that. And the Buddha's saying there is. When energy goes out of that, forming, naming, taking a stand, intensifying, it doesn't disappear, it just returns back from that to something we call presence, awakening, awareness. The Buddha certainly was pretty zestful, vigorous to his dying breath. And how, and as you just begin to kind of take those moments, contact, perception, feeling, intention. Now attention, what's that feel like? A certain flickering round in that. It's a searching, isn't it? Attention searches for something, keeps trying to locate, zoom in on, get a focus on. It's that particular action. That's me, looking for what to do or what's interesting here. Okay. Now contact, what's that experience? As me now becomes that which is landed upon. Wow, touched. Different me. One is the hunter, one is the recipient. Sometimes feeling like the prey, it landed on me. And then there's me as the director, I want to go this way. There are three different functions. Right? And then they're doing different things, which is the way it's supposed to be. But they're not the same thing. It's not a solid me. There are three functions kind of interplaying. And at any time, one of those might come to the fore. I get something I feel really distressed by. Contact flares up. I feel flooded with contact. I am shaken, shocked, shattered, broken. And me as the director, I can't do anything. I just feel so knocked out. I just feel hopeless. When me as the director's gone. Me as the contact, recipient, flaring up, overwhelmed. Attention locked onto that which is causing me suffering. Feel overwhelmed. Right? So I can't function. Or when I'm flooded with ideas and notions, absorbing things I'd really like to absorb in, absolutely saturated, and then stub my toe walking out the door because I don't even really know where I am. My directive has gone. It's not attuned to. It's in my own little bubble. This is very common. We get into our own zones of interest, where our contact is really with my zone of interest, whatever it is that I'm thinking about, generally thinking about something. So I'm absorbed in my thoughts. I don't notice what's going on. I'm peripheral, noticing what's going on around me. I walk around, I don't notice this, I don't notice that, I don't notice this is clean, I don't notice this plant is dying, don't notice other people are doing this, don't really notice. They're there, and yet contact is minimal, because all the me bit has gone into my little bubble, where I can direct things, I can think things through, I can figure out things. And this is a big bit of human behaviour. You can sit playing video game in your video game universe, completely oblivious to the world around you, other people, sometimes your own body numbs out. There, my directive has gone into my zone where I can play and enjoy, have my own will, my own time, absorbing into contact. I've chosen that form of contact, my consciousness is established there, I'm oblivious to other things. And this is very much something that human beings do, and in our day and age this is problematic, because we have these very powerful contact potentials, which media goes right into contact, where you don't have to do anything, you don't have to take any real responsibility. It's like the dream world, where you can tweak your dream at will. And so, what's happening to the people around me, I don't know. grunt, you know. And so of course this is much easier with some machine that's designed to do it. You don't have to deal with actual living beings, human beings with their cranky, funny ways and opinions and views and dispositions and feelings and health, and you don't have to deal with that. Much more comfortably in my little bubble, my video bubble. Yeah. And so your energy goes into that. Energy goes into that. All the energy goes into that. Or sometimes it's just you're doing your PhD, or so you're studying away on Plato or nuclear physics, pretty much absorbed into that. Other people, yeah, oh yeah, morning, yeah. That's it really. But in this, what we absorb into most easily, we don't absorb into living systems because they have their own ways of doing things. See, if you try to absorb into another human, they're shifting and changing, you know, and they're not up to you. You can't manipulate them like you can with a thought, or a book, or a notion, or a video game. You can tweak it, and it is passive. It's not alive. It absorbs all your energy. It doesn't give you any energy back because it's not a living thing, and you drain yourself into these things. Sometimes to the point of exhaustion. All energy is coming, so you're energized because the energy is coming from you, but there's no regeneration. So people kind of basically burn out or into that. Now, when you're dealing with living systems, it's much more precarious because you have to do a lot of negotiating and contact with living systems. They can come into harmony where through negotiation you do come into harmony with another living system called a person. And then, now there's mutual support. Now there's friendship. Now there's loving kindness. Now there's patience and tolerance. Now there's something which is actually going to give you some energy back and support you when the times are bad, when things are knocking you around. Yeah. So you engage in making contact with living systems are much more finally beneficial, even though it takes some work. But the work is good because if it's proper, the work has to be on diminishing the I-ness in the system that I'm involved with. And that's going to be for my benefit. Less stubborn, less arrogant, less willful, less headstrong, more patient, more open. Bit of me goes because I can't be in charge of everything. Good. Humbling. Good. Modest. Oh, good. Makes me patient. Oh, good, I suppose. And then, yes, it is good. Because that freedom from the I am is the gate of freedom. And it doesn't come easy. Now we take something like a moment of contact. How do you do it? Something drops into you, you get a thought or an idea or a memory. Oh my goodness, we've got to get that done by Thursday. Ding, 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 alarm bells ring. Oh, it's Swampra, ding, ding, ding. Oh, it's so-and-so's coming, ding, ding, ding. Oh, we've got to do something. Oh, I don't want to go to that Vinaya session, I'm a bit fed up with that. Ding, 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 ding. You know, contact impression, negative feeling starts churning, the mood starts churning, and then the mind focuses on it. I don't see why, surely it should be this and that and the other, and mind wells up, and then Dhammas start to arise, which is the origination of Dhammas, our views and our opinions. So then we get into some difficulties. And what happens if there's contact and we widen at the moment of contact? What do I mean widen? Your attention widens, your listening deepens, you stay a bit longer with that contact, and you can feel it in your body, and your body seems to widen and open, and you stay with it, and you can feel all the way down to your feet, and across your whole body widens and opens with that. And then the feeling moves through and dissolves. Contact. Because this quality of embodiment, kaya sankhara, is very much bonded to citta sankhara, to the mental formation. So if we're able to manage our body formation, our body energy, our body vitality, which gives us a sense of somatic presence, if we can get that to be a little softer, less forceful, less impassioned, less stiff and restricted, more supple, more open, lighter, then we can actually widen it and soften it. Then contact happens, you don't get that same clutch and grab and intensity, just contact. Disagreeable contact, let's take really wide. Sudden bereavement, go really wide. Shock. Hit the ground with your feet, widen. The feeling arises, moves through. In this way, it's said that for fully realized beings, they experience that contact and that feeling in the bodily sense, but it doesn't touch the citta. The citta is just, yeah, that's a feeling. So the sense of being overwhelmed, flooded, distraught, knocked out, gutted, stiffened, frozen, that doesn't happen. What we associate as sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair, as the Buddha emphatically stated, oh dear, doesn't have to happen. Unpleasant feeling, yeah, that happens. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair doesn't have to happen. That's the possibility. That's through managing contact. It's a long way of putting it, isn't it? But these things need to be chewed over time and time again, in different ways, different angles. Because the aim is then, in kind of more positive terms, the heart remains fresh, bright. Bodily presence is unshaken. One is balanced. Pleasant, unpleasant, not knocked down by displeasure, not thrown up into the air by pleasure. Yeah. Pleasant, yeah. Unpleasant, yeah. And yet, there's the place of being shaken by that. Balance. It's a bit alert, present, but at ease. This is healthy, beautiful in the present. It also allows, this is the form, the position where regeneration occurs, where old wounds and dents and bruises start to surface and be heard and listened to and felt. Old pictures of people, images of people arise. Sorrows, worries, remorse, irritation arises. Doesn't pull one over. Then that's how these qualities are not buried or suppressed or ignored. They're allowed to evaporate. The energy goes out of them because they've been released into presence, released into awareness. Therefore, when it's fresh, awake, certainly sympathetic, yes, I know what you feel like, yes. Can you bear with it? Can you widen around that? This is our cultivation. So offer this for your consideration today.